Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome back to another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, and my co-host, Dr. Rhonda Lawson, was feeling a little bit under the weather, so she's not going to be on tonight, a sad face. But she should be back next week and helping me out so we can feed off of each other. So anyway, we have another amazing show, and this show happens to be romance night. You know, a lot of times, like last week, we ended up having two guests with the same book title back to back, which was just a coincidence. And tonight we have the first three authors are romance authors, and that's also a coincidence. So a lot of times when we book people, it just falls that way. And so it should be a night to talk about love and what motivates people to write about love. And then our final guest is in HR, so that's a different topic altogether. Also, we have a few announcements, but I'll do the announcements after the first interview. We have actually several. So we're going to bring on our first guest. And our first guest, who's a romance author, our first guest for tonight is Kimberly Brown. She writes romance and women's fiction. And she has a new book that just came out today, I believe. It's called Courage to Love Again. And Kimberly is joining us from Columbia, South Carolina. So welcome, Kimberly, to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hello, how are you?
I am great, and welcome to the show. And thanks for being here tonight. So, yeah, I told the audience when we first started that our first three guests tonight are romance authors, and that's not something that happens often. So I'm going to drink some water, so something's in my throat. So anyway, we can get an idea of what motivates each of you all to write about love, and is there certain aspects of romance and love that you focus on? And what keeps you going in the romance direction? Now, I know you write also women's fiction. So just, Kimberly, tell us a little bit about how you got started with writing books.
I actually started with poetry when I was in like 6th grade, and then I wrote my first short story and I fell in love with it ever since. I think it really kind of took on a life of its own in high school. I used to write short stories in notebooks and I would kind of pass them around to my classmates. Well, they took it upon themselves to pass it around to other people to read. And I think that's kind of what I was known for in school, is just writing stories and letting other people read them. As far as the aspects of love, I don't know. I think I just love love in general. I think everybody deserves a good love story. Everybody deserves, a good happy ending, to find that significant person. It's just I love all aspects of love.
Okay. Well, a lot of authors say they got their start in elementary school or high school. And I've heard other people talk about writing stories and pass them around. I'm a writer too. I never did that, but I used to write essays in school, when they had the essay contest. But I never. You did that too?
I did. English was my favorite subject. So
mine too.
Anytime we had to write a paper, I lived for that. That was my favorite.
Yeah, it's an automatic A almost. I mean, it's good to have something where you get an automatic A, where or if you don't, you're challenged in some way by your teacher. And it's helpful to have good teachers too.
It is.
Yeah, I was blessed with really amazing English teachers. So you've written over 30 books in the past 3 years. How did you do that many books in 3 years? That's a lot
Um,
of writing.
my my mind is always going, so I'm always thinking of something. I draw inspiration from movies or music, certain lines in music, real life situations, whether they happen to me or somebody that I know, something that I happen to see like a crazy story on the internet about. I'm like, that would make a very interesting stories. And I don't know, I'm always writing something. Like I'm writing for my phone. If I have an idea, I'll jot it down on a piece of paper or plug it into the notes section of my phone real quick. Um, I typically write about 2 to 3 things at a time. I tell people I get bored with writing one set of characters, so I like to kind of switch it up and switch in between documents.
So you're writing more than one book at a time.
Yes, ma'am.
I've had people say that. Um, I'm not really able to do that. Um, unless I'm writing a children's book in between something else longer. Because
Hmm.
children's books, writing them is quick. It's the illustrations that take the time. So, and you're signed under Be Love
Hmm.
Publications, and she's been on the show kind of recently in the last few months.
Hmm.
She came on the show and she was telling us about the different authors that are under her wing, under her umbrella. So when you got started with your books, were you solo? Did you self-publish? Are you with any traditional or any other with traditional publishers?
When I first started, I think I self-published maybe 3 things in like 2019, and I really didn't know what I was doing. So I ended up pulling them down for like after a year or so. Um, I think most of what I had self-published, I have now republished with Be Love because under her guidance, I feel like I have learned so much more than I would have ever figured out on my own. So I am eternally grateful to her for that. Um, but other than with her, I do self-publish every now and then. And then this book with Black Odyssey came out today. So
Okay. So you're with Black Odyssey. And so we have their authors on most of the time when they release a book, they'll be on either on release day or the week after.
mhm,
Because we try to help them push the newest book because a lot of the data that the people who collect data about book sales, a lot
mhm,
of the data they're collecting is around the first month, couple of months. And then a lot of readers are looking for the next new book, the next new thing. So that first couple of months is very important with the push. But promoting books, as you know, is ongoing.
mhm. Yes, ma'am.
So did you are your books in paperback and ebooks, or are they ebooks
Um,
exclusively, or how do
they're all available on Kindle Unlimited and Amazon, like if they want to buy it. But I do have them all in paperback, and
okay.
it's quite a few. I think it's about, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's quite a few of them that are in audiobook or things that I'm working on for publication that will be in audiobook as well.
Now did you for audiobooks, did you do that on your own? Put your
No,
books on
ma'am.
audio? How did you end up getting your book? I mean, did you pursue it yourself or is it through, because that's a growing area. It's something a lot of people are looking for books on audio because if they're commuting in their cars or on a trip or road trip, it's something for them. They can listen to the book while they're traveling.
Mhm.
And so how did you get your books on audio?
Well, we have a literary agent, LaShira Lee, so she pitched certain titles to like Podium, Dreamscape, recorded books, and if they wanted to pick it up, they picked it up. But that's kind of just how that went. She pitched the book, and if they wanted to pick it up, they would just pick it up and uh they went from there.
Okay, now LaShira was on the show a couple of weeks ago, so we we have we've had over 600 guests on the show in the 4 years, not quite 4 years that we've had the show. So we try to talk to everybody in books at some point, and especially if they've multi-published, if they or if they're doing a groundbreaking topic, something that's not usual. But the audiobooks now, so did you reach out to LaShira to request her to do the audible or the audio version, or was she representing you with the other books as well? Is she
She's
only helping you with the audio?
Go ahead.
Is she only helping you with the audio? Is she like exclusively representing you with the audio? Is that what?
That's mostly what I have her for, is to get the audiobook deals.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know. She didn't tell us that when she was on. So, because I'm intrigued about audio. I have people asking me about my books being on audio, and I know a lot of that's like a hot topic, a big question that people have. And so when I talk to people, I'm trying to determine exactly how the system works. I know people get paid to do the audio on books, like if their voice works and they know how to do it. But I wanted to know from the author's perspective, especially self-published, how do they get their books on audio? And for
Now
you, did you go through her? Are the only ones you have on audio through the agent?
Yes, ma'am. Now there is a way that you can do it like by yourself, but I think that might be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do
Like, as
without
far as I
breaking
know,
the
I think it's I think it's a website where people can people can audition to read your book for you. But I'm not sure exactly how much they charge per. I know they charge per hour. I'm not exactly sure how much they charge per hour, but it's a little more on the expensive side.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. And then about Audible. Do you know anything about Audible? I need to do some more investigation, but since you're on here already talking about you got your books on audio, I figured I would pick your brain for the audience and find out just something about getting the book on audio. And I don't know if Audible is an automatic thing. I need to investigate it more because I don't know who owns Audible. Do you know? Is
I
it
have
part of
no idea.
Amazon?
I think it is part of Amazon.
Okay. So I'm wondering if like when you do your book on Amazon, you can click if you when you submit your information, you can click and select the ebook like seamlessly. Just so I'm wondering if you can click and select audio, or is there, AI might even be generating that.
They do have something now. It's called the virtual voice. I
Okay.
haven't done anything with that, but they do offer a virtual voice on KDP to put your books to make them available in audiobook. But I haven't tried that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I have to investigate that. So now how many of your books are on audio?
Let's see. I'm gonna say it's at least about 10.
Oh, okay. So you have quite a few. That's great. That's great. And how do you find out? Do you get like reports on how many people have listened to it? Are you able to know about that in terms of listening audience?
I haven't
Do they
asked.
give you any data on that, or do you
I
just
haven't asked for. I haven't
basically
asked for any.
turn it over and then they do it and then it's available? Like, is it royalty based? I'm just trying to get a little more information, but I need to explore. I need to what I need to do is I need to contact somebody at one of these audio companies and get them on as a guest, and then they can
They'd probably be able to tell you more than I
tell
can.
me. Yeah, but you've gotten yours on audio, and that's more than I've done. I haven't pursued it, but it's more than, so you're giving information to the audience. So your new book, your brand new book, let's talk about that. Courage to Love Again. Do you have a copy of your book so we can see the book cover? You have it handy. She's going to get her book cover and then come back and tell us the story behind Courage to Love Again, so we can know what it's about. And for those of you all who have tuned in, good evening and thank you for tuning in. Okay, Courage to Love Again. I like that. That's pretty. You know, they do good covers at Black Odyssey.
Like
and you know, and Tice is my friend. She's my good friend. So you know, she's a joy to work with because if she says she's gonna do something, she does it.
She's very nice.
Yeah, she's great. So so tell us now, the picture on the cover is a woman and you can't really see the man that well, except it's just his arm around her.
Mm-hmm.
So she is the one with the courage to love again, I guess. So yes. Who are the characters, and tell us about the story.
So we have Pasha Sinclair and Caleb Ellis. Pasha she was a housewife. She was married, and as like it says on the in the synopsis, that her husband, he puts her things out on their front lawn. He basically tells her he doesn't want to be with her anymore and he wants a divorce. And she's just very distraught by that. His reasonings behind it is he doesn't feel like she is acting within a wife's capacity, but all along she is dealing with anxiety. She's dealing with depression because she's lost her. She's had a lot of losses very close together in a very short frame of time. She lost her parents. She had a couple of miscarriages. Then she got pregnant and she had a stillborn. So all of that plays a factor in her trying to be her best self as best as she can. And he's not very supportive of that. Like he would say things to her that were just things that you would not say to your wife after what she's been through. So he puts her out, and she ends up calling for a car service to come pick up her and her things, and that's when she meets Caleb. And Caleb is an angel. He is really an angel walking around on earth because he was just very patient with her, very kind to her. Their first interaction, he said that he kind of felt it was something in his spirit that kind of just felt drawn to her. He didn't want to leave her like stranded, or he wanted to know that she was going to be okay. So about 4 months pass, and he happens to run into her. She was having a very good day. He happens to run into her, and it happens to be the day that she's going to be moving into her apartment. She's finally getting back on her feet and kind of getting back into the swing of kind of just taking care of herself. And he meets her, I think in like Walmart or somewhere. And her friend was like, hey, we're moving. He kind of offered to come help her move. And from there, he offered her friendship. He was like, I want to be your friend until friendship is no longer an option, until you want something different, until you want something more than just being my friend. He wasn't pushy at all. He just kind of, I'm going to move at your pace. You tell me. When he asked her if he could give her his number, she's like, well, don't you want my number in return? He was like, no, I'm going to let you be comfortable with initiating contact. So he was an all-around good guy. I really liked his character.
Okay. So, we don't want to do any spoilers with the books, but romances tend to have a similar plot. It's the in between that's different. So, a lot of times when women have gone through something and they have a person who's just not attentive, and then the relationship ends, then the if the next person that's just nice and patient and normal is a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm. I think
So
with this,
that's in real life and books.
mm-hmm. I think with this story, I think it was more women's fiction with romantic elements. It wasn't so much focused on their love story, but it was more focused on her learning to love herself again. Um,
Okay.
she kind of moved out of her parents' house and in with her husband, so she's been having someone take care of her entire life. So she is learning to take care of herself, learning to be self-sufficient. After going through everything with her husband and losing her parents and her child, she's just trying to go to therapy, work through all of her trauma, all of her issues, and just get back to being the person that she was before all of the hurt and pain.
Okay. And how old is she? Like 30-ish in there?
I think she's like 20. She's in her mid-20s.
Oh, she's
She's still
okay.
very
She's
young.
still
Like she met
she's
him
still
very
okay.
young.
She's young. Okay. So she got married young and then had the problems with fertility
Mhm,
young as well. So
mhm.
yeah. So what made you um create the story around her? What um why is her character different from maybe some of the other characters you create?
Um, I think for this particular story, I wanted to focus on healing yourself versus the whole being healed with love. I mean, being healed with love is nice, but ultimately, if you're not, I feel like if you're not healed within yourself, then if you're not healed within yourself, if you're not happy with yourself, then you're not going to be happy with anybody else, no matter how good that they love you. So I think I wanted that to be her story.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people if you're looking for completion in someone else,
Mhm.
that's not the way human nature is.
Yes, no.
You have to complete yourself. And that's a lot of pressure when you
It
on the other person to expect them to make you a whole person. That's pressure.
I agree.
Mhm. So your other books that you have, because you said you have 30 books.
It's actually, I
So
think it's
you have more than 30 books?
it's it's a little over 40 now.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So you in 3 years, or was the 30 in 3 years and then you had some before that?
Oh no, that's within the 3 years.
So are you writing full time?
Yes, ma'am. I started writing full time in October.
Oh, okay. So you're writing every day.
Mhm.
And so what's a typical day for you? When do you write at night? Do you write early in the
Um,
morning?
I free write, so I kind of just write whenever it hits me. If I can be out somewhere, if I happen to get an idea in my head, I'm gonna jot it down right quick because if I don't, I'm gonna forget about it. But I kind of just let the characters tell the story for me, so I don't outline. I can't really plot. I mean, I could plot, but and I could outline, but I can't stick to it. Um, I don't know. For me, it feels like it stifles my creativity to fully outline something because I can't. I tried that with one book, and I think about around the fourth or fifth chapter, the character was just like, "Yeah, we're tired of that. We're gonna do this our way, and that's just how it's gonna go."
Well, the writers say their characters talk to them.
They do. They definitely
Mhm.
do.
Yeah, for my two novels, did my characters talk to me? I don't know if they talked to me, but I know I was getting ideas about what they were going to do and how they were going to approach the next phase or whatever it was, and the dialogue, how what they were going to say to the person when they saw them again, like
Mhm.
so when they had to confront whoever, it could be their nemesis or their love interest or their uh, co-worker or whatever. Creating that dialogue is for me, that's one of the well, the whole thing. I'm a writer, but I'm not really a fiction writer. So But some people can just really create stories, the fictional characters and settings and places and interactions, and they can just really. So how long does it take you to write one of your books?
Um,
And how many words typically? Because I know romances tend to be shorter.
mhm.
So how long does it take you to write your books, and how
Um,
long are they, more or less?
well, because I write about 2 or 3 at a time, sometimes it can take about a month or so to fully get through with one. Um,
Okay, that's
typically,
fast.
maybe about a month or two. Typically, I mean, I started out writing about 35K for
Okay,
for per book. Um,
so
and I
that's
think
kind of like between a novella and a
it was a novella.
full between.
Um,
Okay,
I
but
think with the
still, that's still
novella,
a lot of words. Even.
it is. I mean, to consistently put out
Yeah,
every
it's
yeah.
yeah,
But I
it's
think now, I think within the last year, I've been doing 50K and up. And
okay.
it's gotten really hard to write something short. So that has definitely been a struggle. Like I'm working on something now that my goal was 50K and it's not really at 50K anymore. So I might have to cut it short. We
Okay,
will
well,
see.
and if you're able to tell the story in fewer words, then that's great. It's all if it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, that's what counts. Well,
Mhm.
Kimberly, we're at the end of our time, but I do want to let people know your book. Show us your cover once more. So when they go look for it, Courage to Love Again by Kimberly Brown. And Kimberly is under the Black Odyssey Media umbrella. She's today is the release date for her. And congratulations on releasing your book.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me too.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being on the show. And continued success to you.
Thank you. Same to you.
Okay, have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, for those of you who just tuned in or tuned in after the interview started, Rhonda is not feeling well tonight, so she won't be on the show. So I get to do it all by myself, like she did for me about a month ago. So what we're going to do now, we have several announcements we want to make before we bring on our next guest. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, our first three guests are authors who write romance. So Kimberly Brown was the first one. And then our next one is Marian L. Thomas. But before we bring Marian on, I have a few announcements. One, if you all watched the show last week, someone asked about the Black bookstore in Raleigh, North Carolina, that was having some challenges, and they wanted to know what if we were doing anything to address it. So I did look it up, and Liberation Bookstore, they opened about a year ago, and it opens as a children's bookstore. And recently, the owner had some racial incidents, and she just didn't feel comfortable keeping the store open, and she decided to close. And it closed. I did some research. It closed as of April 13th, so it just closed a few days ago. And I checked. We actually did invite her to be on the show April of last year, shortly after she opened, but we never got a response. So we'll reach out again because it wasn't clear if she was closing for good or trying to find another location or what she was going to be doing. The owner's name is Victoria Scott Miller. So you might, if you have a chance, uh, go on Facebook. I think she had a Facebook page, Liberation Bookstore, and just maybe give her some words of encouragement. And we do, as you all know, if you watch this show regularly, we often have bookstore owners on the show. And over the course of almost 4 years that we've had the show, we've interviewed over 35 bookstore owners from coast to coast. So that's an important part of the literary community, our community of Black bookstores. Also, if you watched the show last week, you may recall Piper Hughley was on the show, and she was talking about her new book, American Daughters. But I had mentioned to her that her other book, By Her Own Design, was being read by the Georgetown University Alumnus Book Club that I'm a member of. And I thought she had coordinated that and she was working with them on that. And she didn't even know about it. So I had said on the show that I was going to connect them together, and I did. And so they're having her on a Zoom discussion of her book on May 6th. So I plan on signing on to that to support her. So connections happen on this show. And before we bring on Marian, I do want to say that the Black Authors Matter TV Awards voting is still ongoing. It ends on Monday. We've already gotten over 1,000 ballots submitted, and the voting ends midnight on Monday, which is the 29th. And the award show is on May 14th. So tune in for that. And if you haven't voted, go vote. Vote for your favorites. It's the most compelling interview in 14 different categories. And if you want to register for the National Black Book Festival, please do so. The vendor space is going fast. We're already at 73% sold. So don't procrastinate if you want to have a table at the festival. It's going to be great this year. So we had Marian was in the waiting area. Okay, now sometimes people change devices or whatever. So we're going to bring Marian L. Thomas on as our next guest. And Marian has a new book as well. Her book came out last Tuesday, I believe. And the name of her book is Saving Raine. And Raine is a name, and it's spelled Raine. So Marian, as soon as her face comes on, okay, there we go. Marian, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV, and congratulations on the release of your new book.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I forgot how your book came to our attention, but your book came out last Tuesday, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so how's it going so far?
It's going great. It really is. I actually had the book release event, an in-person book release event on Saturday. We had a great turnout.
Okay,
It was
good.
sold out. So, yeah, I'm very excited about this book.
And which book is this for you in terms of the number? How many books have you released?
I think this might be like 6 or 7. Yeah,
Okay.
I started this journey back in 2009. My first book was called Color Me Jasmine.
Okay. I might remember that book. Oh, okay. So, all of your books romance?
Well, I always more consider, I really more put them in like women's fiction, but they do have romance elements in them. But I'd say they're more like women's fiction.
Okay. And so, your first book came out in 2009, did you say?
That's
okay.
correct.
So did you like take a break after that first one? You got the first one under your belt. I know writing your first book is, unless you're with a big publisher. Were you self-published, or was you
Yes, my first book came under LB Publishing.
Okay.
And then the last book that I released was in 2021, which was Someone Like Me. And that one was published under Dark Frog Blue. So that was the publishing company that actually released Someone Like Me.
Okay. All right. Well, so tell us a little bit about your approach to your writing, your books. What do you is there a certain theme you have, a certain kind of message or character you like to present to the readers?
Yeah, so good question. I I really try to present characters that are about women and the journey that we go through, the life's ups and downs, the challenges that we face. In this particular book of Saving Raine, the readers are introduced to Raine Reynolds, which is a character that is on this road or path to redemption. And it talks about the impact of infidelity and the journey to forgiveness. And most of my books that I write deal with those type of subjects, as far as forgiveness or self-discovery, which I think is important for women, for us to really go on that journey and discover who we are. So yeah, that's a lot of what my stories resonate around those themes.
Okay, do you have a copy of Saving Rain handy so you can show us? You have it right there. Now, because of
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it because I think it's
I
on
think
a,
you have to
yeah.
put it closer to you. Put it
Yeah,
close, put it
yeah.
close to you.
Oh, yeah, I think,
You. Pull it
yeah,
back.
there we go.
See?
Yeah,
There you
there we
go.
go. Yeah.
Okay, Saving Rain. And
Yeah.
she has her back turned
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and she's outside. She has a hat on. I like the font that they used,
Yeah.
the two different fonts for Saving Rain.
Yeah. Very
And
nice.
so what's the setting for Saving Rain? Where she is it a particular city?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Going, is it fictional? Is it a real city? Some authors have, make up cities. They have the whole thing is made up.
yeah, yeah, no, she's actually, she starts her journey, starts in Atlanta, Georgia, which is actually where I reside. So it's definitely not fictional in that sense. And then, after some of the things that she goes through, she travels to Paris, where she spends about 5 years before she returns back to Atlanta. So it takes place between Paris and Atlanta, but the main gist of the story takes place in Atlanta.
Okay. Now, have you personally traveled to Paris?
I would love to go to Paris. I would love to go to Paris. Thank goodness, Google is so so
Yeah.
helpful. living
Yeah.
living through the Google life. I mean, really, so but it's always been my as I say bucket list to
Okay.
get to Paris. So I would love to go there. Doing a lot of research for this particular book, there were so many places that I learned about that I was like, oh my goodness, I want to sit out, on someone's veranda and sip coffee or something like that and have a croissant. So yeah, I definitely would love to travel there.
Okay. So, why did you pick an international destination for your character,
Yeah.
as opposed to somewhere domestic where she could go and regroup? Is she in fashion, or is she involved in a career with something where Paris
Yeah.
is the place to
Yeah.
be?
Yeah. Well, she gets involved with an advertising agency, and that's where she's able to kind of, she started off as an author, actually. So she was quite a renowned author herself, but Paris was somewhere she visited with her husband. And so it was a place that she felt like she had discovered herself and a place that she felt comfortable with. And so that's where she goes back. So I think as women, when we're looking to get away from it all and get away from the pains and the struggles of life, we sometimes go the distance, as it were, to do that. And so that's the story of Raine Reynolds. That's what she does. She goes the distance, and she goes to a place where she really feels like no one knows her, and she can just be, Raine, and really take that time to focus on her and what her needs are at that moment.
Yeah, sometimes going somewhere where no one knows you can help you recover from your past, because, or just chart a new course,
Right.
because you don't have people judging you based on whatever previous mistakes or behaviors or associations you may have had.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's certainly the case with this particular character. And, it does offer some sort of, um, comfort when you can just, go somewhere where you can have that moment to yourself, to just reflect um, on your situation without having to answer questions to people that know you.
Yeah, there's some, you know, it takes a lot of resources to be able to do that.
Yeah,
And not everybody has the wherewithal to be able to make that decision.
yeah, that's true, which is why I haven't been there yet. So
Well,
parents.
well, you can write about a place that you want to go visit, and then let your character go in your place.
Exactly,
And then,
exactly. We live through our characters, it's a great thing about writing, you get to travel the world through a book. Like I like to say with this particular book, every page turns a new leaf, and that's so true with this particular book. And yeah, you definitely get to travel through travel different places. I mean, I know some of my books have taken place in small rural towns. Some have taken place, in New York, but this was the first time that one of my characters has actually traveled internationally. So I thought, hey, let's go for a journey.
well, it's great to be able to do that in a book.
Yeah.
So, um, your other books that you have written,
Mhm.
are they connected in any way to each other? Are they part of a series, or are they all standalones or combination?
Yeah. So my first couple of books, Color Me Jasmine, My Father's Colors, and Strings of Colors was part of a series.
Okay.
After that, I realized that I am not a series type of writer. After I wrote Strings of Color, and I realized that that is just not my forte. So, although I will say that I really felt like My Father's Colors was a very, very, very good book, and people love that book. But I think by the time I got to Strings of Color, I was, kind of like ready to move on from the character. And
Mhm.
so I decided at that time that I wouldn't write any more series. I wouldn't write books that were part of a series. So all of the books after that have been standalone novels. And I enjoy that. I enjoy taking the character from, introducing the readers to a character and having them feel like when the story is over with, that they feel complete in that sense. So they've gone on the full journey with the character.
Okay, yeah. What I don't like is a series where they just kind of leave you hanging. It's not a cliffhanger, it's just hanging. It's not, it's not. There should be some, even in a series, there should
Mhm.
be some closure
Mhm.
at the end of the book where it's just
Yeah,
not, there should be something where you can say you're satisfied.
right.
But series are a trend. A lot of publishers like them
Mhm.
because of the follow through sales,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, um I enjoy reading books that are part of a series. I just decided I don't want to write them.
yeah, and some of them are good.
Mhm.
Some
Yeah.
series are really good. They really keep
Mhm.
you going,
They do.
and they can take one character and have them be in all kinds of situations,
Mhm.
and each one is interesting, but it's not easy to keep the interesting angle going.
Yeah.
Um, I've read, I read a lot, so I
Mhm.
read series and I read standalones,
Mhm.
mostly standalones. But when I read a series, uh, sometimes it's like after the second book, it's like, okay, they just, you know what it reminds me of when they do a movie and they
Mhm.
do the the sequel to the movie,
Mhm.
and the sequel is usually not as good as the movie. Sometimes they they get lucky and do it. But
Yeah.
if they try to go to a 3, it's just like repetitious, and
Right.
they're just trying to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. That was the reason why I knew I should have stopped after my father's colors.
But if you can keep the characters going and
Hmm.
keep an interesting storyline, that's good.
Yeah,
So tell
absolutely.
me more about your background and how you got started with writing, and what drove you to start writing when you got to writing your first book. What pushed you there, and then what keeps you writing today?
Yeah, good question. Well, I started a long, long time ago. I really had no intention of getting into writing novels. I was always interested in writing. I actually was more interested in art when I was younger, but when I was in high school, I wrote my first manuscript, and then didn't do anything with it. And then one day I was talking to an ex-boss of mine, and I used to call him Mr. Incredible, because if you've ever watched The Incredibles, and the cartoon show in The Incredibles, he's always Mr. Incredible's always kind of like reliving his glory days, so to speak. And so my boss at the time and I were discussing things that we used to do, and I was explaining to him that I used to really, write, and I wrote this book when I was in high school, and but never really did anything with it. And so he was like, "Oh, you should try it, pick it up." And I was like, So then he just kept on asking me about it. And so every day he would just be like, "Did you get her done? Did you get her done? Did I finish the book?" Because I never finished it. And so finally one day I came in and said, "Yes, I finished the book." Finished writing the book. It is 20 years later, but I finished writing the book. And so that began my journey back in 2009 and writing. And, I really, originally I wanted to get into journalism, but I was a writer in college. So I was a sports editor and a news editor in
Okay.
college. So I did a lot of writing from that standpoint. But yeah, I really wanted to get into journalism and do more like broadcasting and things of that nature. But yeah, I enjoy putting words on a page that people can get lost in, things, words that inspire and encourage people or help people to just find themselves in another world for a time being, So yeah, I really enjoy that.
Okay. Well, yes, everybody's journey is different.
Mm,
No two people have the same exact one.
right.
And you're the first one that I talked to that whose boss encouraged them to finish a book. A lot of times bosses don't want you to do anything on the side that might distract from the work that you're doing at
Yeah,
work.
yeah, that's very
So
true. Very true. But no, he was very much so. And then, I was telling my husband about it, and he was like, "Yeah, you should do it. You should go ahead and finish it." And so between the two of them, that really encouraged me to get it done. So I finally did. And when I finished it, I called it Color Me Jasmine. And that was my first book. And I remember when the book came out, and yeah, I learned a lot from, that experience and that journey of getting into the publishing world, and just understanding the whole process. It's very different than what I was used to. But yeah, it was, it's a journey that I'm still on today.
yeah, that's great. So for Saving Rain, I wanted to ask about the cover
Mhm.
because you know, people say you can't judge a book by its cover, but a cover draws people in or repels people. One of the
Right, right,
or it's just no, it's just dead, it's neutral, it doesn't do anything. But you
right.
hopefully want it to pull people in and
Mhm.
not turn people off or repel people. So
Right.
your cover is very inviting.
Thank you.
And where did your cover concept come from?
Oh, a lot of agonizing nights of going back and forth with the artist and trying to capture the essence of the story and what she was going through. And, she's looking at Atlanta, and it's kind of like her journey back to Atlanta, which is what happens in the book. She journeys back to Atlanta, a place that really holds memories for her that she would rather forget. And so that's what the cover represents. And I think it does a really good job of doing so.
Well, it's very inviting. It's almost like going on a picnic or
Mhm,
just going for a walk in the
mhm,
in the woods, not like wooded woods, but
mhm.
behind your house or behind your subdivision, if you live in a rural area or something like
Right,
that. A
right.
park, walking in a
Mhm.
park that's what it brings to mind to
Yeah.
me. And a lot of you can draw a lot of conclusions from looking at a cover, or just
Mhm.
get certain feelings. And she seems carefree and relaxed.
Hmm.
That's what I get from it.
Okay.
You know
Yeah.
she's not, it's a stress-free environment.
Mm.
And a
Well, I
lot of
would
times when
definitely
we get
say,
out in nature,
uh-huh.
we're able to commune with God and nature, and get a whole different perspective on whatever our problems or challenges might
Yeah, we can definitely, nature has a great way, creation has a great way of helping us to do that. Absolutely. Everything we see and touch and feel reminds us of that connection that we can have. Absolutely. But yeah, and I think that's with the cover, because she's coming from Paris, so that's the hat and the,
be. Okay.
kind of that, vibe that she has. But yeah, it's definitely a book about her going back to a place that holds, good and bad memories for her.
Okay. So do you have any of your other books handy that you can show us?
I do not.
Okay, I just wanted to know, if because I wanted to kind of compare
Uh-huh. Yeah.
the covers to
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
if there's
this is a
a
very
difference.
different cover for
Okay.
Saving Rain, but yeah, you can always find my books on Amazon.com. And
Okay.
so viewers can actually get a feel for each book. Each of my covers I try to have it represent this story,
Okay.
and there's always usually going to be some type of female on the cover because that's always going to be my main character. So yeah, but this book is more of an artistic view on this cover. So I really love this cover.
Oh, it caught my attention. And so I don't remember exactly where I saw information about the book, but it
Mhm.
came across my laptop or
Mhm.
desk or whatever. And
Mhm.
I said, oh, this looks interesting. So,
Yeah.
then when I went to find you online,
Mhm.
I was able to find you. Some people are not, for authors out there who are either writing now, considering writing, or whatever you do, you really do need an online presence, because that's where everybody goes to find stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
You need
important. Yeah.
social media,
Yeah.
and you it's really good to have a website if you can, just
Mhm.
because you have more control over the content on a website than
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do.
yeah, and I have all of that.
You
Social
do.
media,
You have
websites,
Facebook and
all of that.
YouTube. You have a YouTube channel. Now, what do
Yeah.
you do on your YouTube channel?
On my YouTube channel, it's really just book trailers. So people can go on and, watch book trailers, because I think book trailers are great to kind of bring the story to life for you and give you a good kind of inside look at what the book is about. So that's what I have on my YouTube channel. So for Saving Rain, you can go on my YouTube channel and actually watch the book trailer and gives you a good
Oh,
inside look
okay.
into the book.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are um a book trailer is an encapsulation. Normally they're like a reel. Well, they're normally longer than a reel because a lot of times reels are like 15 to 30 seconds, but a book trailer might be a minute or it might even be longer than a minute. But it's
Yeah,
like a movie trailer, but
exactly, exactly.
but it's a visual depiction of what the story is about. And then there's hopefully a hook to get you to order and read the book.
Yeah.
So you said you had a book launch when your book came out last week. So do you have any other events planned coming up?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing on a book tour. So I'll be visiting a couple of states. Next,
Okay.
I think the next state I'll be in is in June. I will be in Chicago. So
Okay.
my publicist is working on securing all of those locations, but I'll be putting all of that out on my Facebook page and on the website and things in that under my event section. So readers can actually, come out and see me at any of the events that I'm actually going to be at, but I'll be visiting quite a few of the Barnes and Nobles around in various states. So from between here, Little Rock, Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, those are some of the states that are on my tour.
And those are kind of a drive from Georgia. They're in driving distance.
Yeah.
So it's good to venture out and to not necessarily have to venture out too far because it can get expensive unless your publisher is picking up the tab on travel. And a lot of times they don't.
Right.
Even for well-known people who publish for a long time. A lot of times they pay for their own tour or they get the organization if they're going to visit a particular organization, they get
Yeah. Yeah.
So can you show the cover one more time?
Sure.
And then let people know how they can connect with you. The book is Saving Raine, Raine, and put it closer to you. There you go. It is.
Yeah.
And let people know how they can connect with you on social media or via your website.
Yeah, so you can actually connect with me at marianlthomas.com. It's MARIAN lthomas.com. That's without the www to get to my website. You can also go to savingrainefictionbook.com and learn more about Saving Raine. And through my website, you'll be able to find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of the social channels. I actually just started on TikTok. So you can also find me on TikTok as well. I do have a couple of videos out there. I have a good unboxing video for Saving Raine. So everyone can share that moment with me of being able to see the book for the first time, the hardcover copy. So yeah, find me on TikTok, Instagram, any other social media channels like that.
Oh, okay. Now, is your book in hardcover or you just saying the hard copy? Is it in hardcover and paperback?
Actually, this is the hardcover that I'm holding up.
Oh, okay. I can't tell from the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so your book came
hardcover.
out in hardcover.
Yeah,
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's on paperback, hardcover, audio, and Kindle, and also Nook as well. So however you like your flavor of book,
Okay, well,
it's
that's
available for
wonderful.
you.
That's wonderful. And your publisher for this book is what did you say the name of the publisher was?
I'll be publishing.
LB?
Publishing.
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations, Marian, on your new book, Saving Raine. And we hope to see you again in the future with your next book that you put out.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a great night.
You too.
Okay, so I had said at the top of the show, tonight is a night for romance. And so all of the authors that are on the show tonight, except for the final one, are romance authors. I have one more bit of information before we bring on our third guest, and that is the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards. That process is ongoing. If you have a children's book that you'd like to submit for the competition, then the deadline for book submission is June 3rd. And then our panel of judges will be meeting in June and July to determine who the finalists are. And then we'll announce the finalists on this show August, I believe. I don't have the date in front of me, but it's like the middle of August, somewhere in there. But I'll have the exact date later on. And then you'll get to hear the finalists. We'll have the judges on to discuss it as well, because a lot of times people have questions about the process and all of that. So we'll have that. And I do want to acknowledge the people who commented online and said good evening and hello, everybody. If you tune in later, Rhonda wasn't feeling well tonight, so she decided to take the night off and get some rest. So we'll see her next week and be in prayers for her to have a full recovery. She just was feeling under the weather. So our next guest is Joy Avery, and she also is a romance author. And she has her book, she doesn't have a brand new book out now. Her last book came out in July, but she's published several books and she has a lot going on and she's gotten a lot of awards and all of that. So we wanted to have Joy on to talk about all the good work she's doing with her writing and the awards she's getting. And if she has a new book coming out, which I believe she has some books scheduled, so for the future, but her most recent book came out in July. So anyway, Joy, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. And we want you to unmute so we can hear you.
Okay, here we go.
All right, there you go.
I'm trying to get this thing to function for me.
Okay. Well,
How are
welcome
you?
to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And you've been writing for quite some time, and you've gotten a lot of awards that are named after other romance authors who are well known to most people. Most readers for sure. So I see your backdrop. Welcome to Honey Hill. Well, now what is that about?
Now, Honey Hill is my latest series that has the book Sweeter Than Honey, Something So Sweet, and the latest in the series, Accidental Sweethearts.
Okay. All right. So that last book that came out in July was the third book in the series.
Yes.
Okay.
Currently working on book 4. It'll be released in the fall.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is ongoing.
Yes.
And now your books all have men on them.
Yes.
In this series. So I mean, romances, you can have a man on it, you can have a woman on it, or you can have a couple on it. Or you can have like a person and then like part of another person. You may not even see the face of the other person. So it's all kinds of different ways you can do your covers. A lot of it depends on who the central characters are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have some covers that are just objects. It doesn't have a person on there at all. So yeah.
Just for appeal. Just for eye candy. Is that what? Okay.
Well, the first 2 books in the series were traditionally published under Amazon Publishing Montlake line. And the third book, I did it up under my publishing company, but I wanted to keep the theme of the covers going.
Okay. Okay. Now which Amazon arm is that? Is that the new one where they actually publish authors?
No, it's the Montlake romance line.
Okay, I hadn't heard about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon is doing so much.
It's been around a while.
So it's different from KDP.
KDP is
it's
the self-publishing. Yeah.
So this one is actually like an imprint that Amazon has. Okay.
Yes. They have several imprints.
Mm-hmm. This is their romance imprint.
Yes.
Which is called what again? Can you repeat?
Montlake.
Can you spell it for me?
Mm-hmm. Montlake.
Is it one word?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Amazon romance imprint. Okay. There's always something new to know because the publishing world is always moving.
Steadily evolving, that's for sure.
It is. So how did you end up on the Montlake imprint? Did you have to submit your work to them for it to be accepted?
My agent submitted it.
Oh, okay. So it's like the
Yeah.
process is like going through a traditional publisher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then is there a long window for the release like it is with traditional publishers?
Yeah, it's pretty it may be slightly shorter than most other traditional publishers, but yeah, you still go through the same process. So
Okay.
editing and then approving cover design and
Okay.
back and forth with different steps in it. Very much mimics any other traditional publisher. Yeah.
Okay. So which book is this for you among your books you've done? The number three is number 3 in the series, but is number what for Joy?
Number 20. Hold on. I wrote it down because I knew you were going to ask me this and I never can tell. 22. Number 22.
Oh, well, congratulations on 22.
Thank you.
Now, are they all romances?
They are. They are.
Okay. All
That's
right.
just that I love writing romance, but I do want to dip my feet into women's fiction pretty
Okay.
soon. Yeah.
Now, because the first 2 guests we had, they both either were writing women's fiction or wanted to write women's fiction. What's the main difference between romance and women's fiction?
Romance for me, everyone will define it differently. You'll get 50 different definitions for what it is, but for me, romance is the couple finding on their journey to find true love. Women's fiction is more from the female point of view, what she's going through. She going through a divorce, going through a bad breakup, on the search for fulfillment, something where it's very centered on that female character and not necessarily both point of views.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for helping me understand the difference and the audience for those who don't know the difference as well.
There's different criteria for writing romance and writing women's fiction. Romance goes on a formula.
Yeah,
which,
it does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And women's fiction, I think you have a little more latitude to incorporate more stuff into the book.
Okay. So this series, Honey Hill, welcome to Honey Hill. What is it about?
Welcome to the series. It's romance, so it is couples coming together. The first book is A Second Chance at Love. The second book in the series is Friends to Lovers, and the third book is An Accidental Marriage, where they're friends and they visit Vegas and they have a little too much to drink and they wake up married. So their intent is to instantly get it annulled. They were able to get married so easily. They figured that it was going to be just as easily to get divorced, but that's not the case. They have to leave Vegas and return back to Honey Hill. And there's a judge there that he pretty much does what he wants to do. So he told him that no, he was not going to approve them getting a no, that they had to stay married for a certain amount of time. And then once they have satisfied that time frame that he put on them, then he would sign their annulment papers. But in the process, they spent day and night together, helping each other through hard times, being each other's shoulders. They start to see things in each other that they hadn't seen before prior to just being friends. Now they're husband and wife. So their friendship grows into a little bit more, and then it turns to love.
Okay. Now, are the same characters continuing in the series?
No, they're different characters, but each character from the books before, you do still get a glimpse of them in each one of the books. So the next book will still have a glimpse of all of them. They may not get as much airtime, that you will see them and you'll get a little snippet of what's going on with them, because it's a core group. All of them are really good friends. So they're constantly interacting with each other. So yeah, each book is a standalone. You can pick up any book in the series and still be able to follow the story. But yeah, you see each character in each book.
Okay, so is Honey Hill a real place or a fictional place?
It's a fictional place. Actually, there is, when I was Googling something recently, a Honey Hill popped up in North Carolina. But my Honey Hill is a fictional place. It's built from the ground up, and yes, I have never visited the other Honey Hill in real life. But yeah, the Honey Hill in this book is a fictional place. It's a small town filled with friends who are more like family.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of times I know authors will think that they're making up a town, then they find out there is one with the name. I know Marian Monroe, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, she's had a series based in Lexington, Alabama. She didn't know there was a Lexington, Alabama. And there actually is. And so she said every now and then, like at least once a week, she'll get an email from somebody from Lexington, Alabama, telling her she got places wrong or something. This is, it's funny. You just never know. There's lots of little towns all over America.
All over. It's amazing at some of the names that if you Google small towns that pop up, I'm like, I never even knew that was a thing. And then others, I'm like, well, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Yeah.
The people from there know. I know in Texas, there are just a million small towns. And we have some with weird. We have the oddest name one that we have is Cut and Shoot. There is a Cut and Shoot, Texas.
Oh my God, Cut and Shoot, Texas.
And then there's a lot of towns with names of big cities from other places. Like there's a Cleveland, Texas. There's a Rome, Texas. There's an Atlanta, Texas. There's a Paris, Texas. There's a whole bunch. Like I think every major city has a town in Texas named after it.
Yeah. And I'll be visiting Nashville, Tennessee in July for the One Love reunion. And there is a Nashville, North Carolina. So I have to keep mindful when I'm doing this. I'm like, Nashville, Tennessee, not Nashville, North Carolina.
That's true. Now, people who watch the show know that I have roots in North Carolina. Both my parents, they're both passed away, but both sides of my family from North Carolina.
Okay.
So, and my sister still lives there. So Durham area is where my family's from. Mebane, my mother's was from Mebane. My father was from
family in Mebane, yeah.
And LaShira Lee, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, lives in Mebane. She's an agent. Do you know her?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so I didn't realize that until she and I had talked online. Because we have a Texas business named Buc-ee's. That's just it's a Texas treasure, and they've started expanding outside, and they're opening one in Mebane.
In Mebane, yeah. My first time visiting a Buc-ee's was last year, South Carolina, and it is a whole experience.
Yeah, you have to go to one to know what it is.
Yes.
My sister who lives in Greensboro, she went to Bennett, and her husband went to A&T. So they're, but we went on a road trip to California in the summer of 2021. And we took I-10 going to California, and coming back, we took I-40. So on the way back, but we dipped down when we got to Oklahoma to 45, Interstate 45. And I said, okay, we have to go to Buc-ee's. And they said, what is all this talk about Buc-ee's? What do you mean? And so when we stopped at Buc-ee's, they were so blown away that so I started getting them Christmas gifts from Buc-ee's. I got them T-shirts, a whole packet of the Buc-ee's beaver nuggets.
Yeah.
A mug, and she was so excited that they were opening the Buc-ee's. It's an experience. It is one of a kind, and you can't get their stuff online.
No.
They don't have an online purchase. You have to go to Buc-ee's. They force you to go to Buc-ee's for the Buc-ee's experience. So anybody who hasn't been to Buc-ee's, if there's one anywhere close to you, you need to go at least once.
Go to Buc-ee's and get you some beaver nuggets.
And all kinds of other good stuff.
Other
Have
stuff.
a great
Yes.
baked
Brisket
beans, their
sandwiches.
brisket, all kinds of
Jerky.
Yeah, every kind of jerky you can think of, and some
Every
would never
kind.
think of. And they just have all kinds of little souvenir items, and
Yeah.
they have tons of stuff.
Anything you
And
could possibly need on the road.
on the
you swing by
road, and
Buc-ee's,
they
you
have
can
like
come out with it.
gas stations where they have
Yeah.
like 50 gas pumps, and
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. And they have a car wash where they have like 50 car wash.
It is
It is
crazy. It is
a major thing. So
And we didn't mention the bathrooms.
their
No.
bathrooms are incredibly clean. For
Yes.
one.
And they have attendants. It's like, you like
Yeah.
the airport.
If you're on a
they have
road
attendants.
trip and you need to go, because sometimes on road trips that bathroom thing can
Yep.
be iffy.
Yeah.
Some of the places, depending on who the owners are, I'm not gonna say anything, but
You'll get a little shock when you see the
there's-
lines for the bathroom, but they move
Yeah,
so
but they
efficiently
move-
in there that you wait no
they
time.
make sure it's clean when you and clean when you come out. They
Oh,
really
yeah.
just
Oh,
great.
yeah.
So anybody who has if you get a chance to go to Buc-ee's, please do. So
Yes.
I want to talk about all these awards that you've gotten, been nominated for, and you received. And I think most of these people have been on the show at some point. You got the Beverly Jenkins Author of the Year Award, or were you nominated? Or did you receive?
Nominated.
These were nominations. Well,
Yes,
still,
nomination.
it's amazing. Because Beverly's been on the show a couple of times. Brenda Jackson's been on the show a couple of times. I'm not sure if Adrian Byrd has been. Seems like I tried to get her. If not, we need to get her on.
Now I
but how
did. I did win the Adrian Board Queen of Comedy Award. Yeah.
Okay, the Queen of
Wrestler.
Comedy Romance. So you had a comedic romance that
Well-
won.
Well, no, it's not listed as a rom-com, but there's the Honey Hill series is tons of laughs. There's a lot of laughs and a lot of love.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good to have a book with a laugh out loud moment. Or
Yeah.
several.
Yeah.
It's good to
And
read.
that was a special win because I did read a lot of her books in the past.
Okay. And then Rochelle Allard's Best Series Award.
Mm-hmm.
And then the J.M. Jeffries Best Duo Award.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you have been. So did you, for all these different awards, did you submit your work yourself, or did someone suggest you?
So for the Cover of the Year award that I won, that was submitted by me, one of my covers, but the rest that I was nominated by readers.
Well, that's even an even greater honor.
Yes, it is. So that's why I said I'm even just happy to be nominated, because these are people who are taking the time to read my books, enjoy my books, and then submit it to a contest to say, hey, she needs to be considered for an award. So yeah, that in itself is a blessing for me.
That's great. And now, over what period of time were these awards bestowed or nominations? Has it been like over? And how long have you been writing romance?
So my first book was published in 2014, Smoke in the City. That was my very first book, my out the gate. And it's I like to say that I have grown quite a bit since that book. That book has everything from the kitchen sink in there. I just threw everything in there, but I was still getting my footing in romance. So from that up, now I still love that book. I still absolutely love that book. But yeah, I've grown quite a bit since that one.
Well, if you keep writing, you keep growing.
Yeah, that's a
And a
constantly
lot of
learning.
times our first books, unless you get signed with a big publisher and they like redo everything basically, then we're all like flying blind, kind of,
Yeah.
dealing with hope and aspirations. And the main thing is what I would tell everybody who's going to do a book, the main thing is to get your book edited.
Yes, that is important.
Your first book, your 10th book, it doesn't matter what number, don't put anything out there that's not edited.
Edited, yeah.
Out to the readers. And you don't want your first effort to set the tone for your low standard or high standard. And if you don't get it edited, that's a low standard.
Yeah. So. Luckily, when I first started out, I did join a local readers group, and I got so much beneficial information. And that was one of their big things. If you're putting it out there for the world to see, if you're doing it on your own, make sure it is edited. Make sure it is edited. And I instantly saw the value in doing that. And I'm so glad that was one of the pieces of advice that I took and had my books edited.
And that's good that you mentioned a local writers group. A lot of people don't know about these types of groups. Some of them may occur via Zoom, but I don't know if it's as effective. We have one here in Houston called the Houston Writers Guild. Mm-hmm. So it's a membership organization, but they actually do critiques and things like mm-hmm. that. They have workshops, mm-hmm. and it's an ongoing effort because we all should be improving our craft, whatever way we can. Yeah. And if you're just getting started, you definitely need to talk to people who and share with people who've been around a while and know absolutely the ins and outs of publishing.
It was beneficial for me, truly beneficial, because I met some great people there, and I learned a lot there from people that have been doing it far longer than I have been doing it. So yeah, it is a wealth of information there. Within the right group, sometimes it can be the blind leading the blind.
Well, yeah, that's true. It needs to be. Mm-hmm. It needs to be an established group, I would say.
Yes.
Yes. If you're really trying to get help. Now, sometimes people are trying to have more camaraderie among writers, and that's a mm-hmm. different thing. But mm-hmm. if you're really, especially if you're just getting started, you really do need the benefit of people who've had longevity in the industry. Yes. And are willing to help, because not everyone is willing to do that.
That is the truth. But I'm fortunate and blessed to say that along the way I've had some very helpful individuals that I've reached out and said, hey, I got a quick question on this. I know you're busy. I know you're doing your own thing, but that's it. They got right back to me. Full on pages of information. And that is the kind of individuals that I like dealing with. They want to help. They don't see you as competition. They say a win for one is a win for all. So yeah.
And there are enough readers out here for everybody. And you're not going to reach them all. Even if you're James Patterson, he doesn't reach everybody.
He does not reach everybody.
So the thing is to be building your readership and continuing to grow your influence that way, and continue to entertain people or inform, because people read mostly to be entertained or to be informed.
Yeah.
And you should do that. So your upcoming releases, you said you have two. You have one in the summer, and then you have the book 4 in this Honey Hill series coming out in the fall. So tell us about the summer release, Nashville Unforgettable.
Yes, this is I'm writing this specifically for the event that I have in July in Nashville. Is very Nashville centered. It's I won't call it an insta love because they don't fall in insta love, but their relationship is built in a very short period of time, a little shy of a week. So that is the start of their relationship. Of course, there's after they build this foundation, they do in the epilogue, I fast forward and you get to see where they are several months later in their relationship. So it's a lot of food, there's a lot of music, a lot of love, some laughs.
Okay, now you have this One Love reunion. What is that? What is that about?
That's AC Arthur's event. She does it every year, an amazing event, very well organized. It's like a family reunion. I love to go because this truly is like going to a family reunion because I see all my author friends there, get to meet and hang out with the readers. So this year is in Nashville, Tennessee. Is July 17th through the 20th. Registration is open now at onelovereunion.com. You can get all your information there, register there. I would suggest if people are able to go to register and come on out and have a good time with us, authors and readers, and celebrate.
Okay,
and you're in
now AC,
Nashville.
yeah, AC has
Nashville.
been on the show as well.
Mhm.
So now, so what is it exactly? What is One Love? Is it romance readers and writers? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And this year's the 10th year anniversary. There's panels. There's she does an amazing event, dancing, dinner. Does, like I said, all kind of panels. We do book, and there's a huge book signing. So and what that's it. I think I covered everything.
Days, so it's 3 days, so it must be quite a bit going on.
Yeah. There's quite a few panels, like I said, and then there's a bit. She does space out time where you can you have downtime, to recharge and come back, and it's a great event. Well, I stress again, well organized. It's a well organized event. Her team is amazing.
I need to reach out to her. How many people typically go?
Now that, yeah, you would probably have to reach out for her and ask, but I think it's anywhere from like 100 plus. But then again, confirm that number with her because I could just be pulling that out of the air or something. But yeah, it's great attendance. It's great attendance.
So is it author driven? Is it reader driven? Is it for both?
Yeah, it's for both. It's an author reader event.
Oh, so, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I see. Okay, well I'll have to see about having her on before the event because she was on last year sometime to talk about the One Love reunion, so more people can know about it and potentially go. I think she may have mentioned it, but that's been last year. And, I've been over to talk to a lot of people since then. So you offer book themed gifts and more on your online store.
Yes.
You have things that you make on Etsy.
Yes. And the name of the shop is Lady Lioness Handmaids. And the web address for it is ladylionesshandmaids.etsy.com. And I do bookmarks, I do mugs, mouse pads, patches.
And what's the theme of them?
Some of them are book themed, but not all of them are book themed. Some of them are animal lover theme. Some of them are I have alert patches up there, like you want to affix to your bag or something, a medical condition alerts. It's just an array of stuff, but yeah. So it's not solely book themed, but there are book themed items there. I started off being book themed, but I sort of evolved to adding more things there.
So are these handcrafted things that you make?
The mugs, yeah.
Okay.
Some
and
mugs.
The bookmarks. We use bookmarks for the book festival, the National Black Book Festival, as giveaways to the book clubs. So I might reach out to you because we have a supplier that we've used but I'm always open to looking at what else is available out there. And so I'll take a look and see what you have, and then
Okay.
we can see if we can at least add some of them to what we provide for the book clubs that come to the book festival.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, we're at the end of our time, but we really appreciate your being on the show, Joy. And thank you so much, and continued success to you with all the books you're doing, and have fun at the One Love reunion. I'm going to reach out to AC Arthur and get her back on to talk about it.
You definitely do. And thank you very much for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Have
All
a
right.
great night.
You do the same.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, well, for those of you all who may have tuned in later, Rhonda was not able to be on the show tonight. She's under the weather, but we will see her next week on next week's episode of the show. So our final guest, we've been talking about romance since the top of the show. Our first three authors were romance authors, but this author is in human resources, and she has a book called The Diversity Dilemma, and her name is Dr., and I want to pronounce her first name correctly, Thela, I think, Thatch, but she'll correct me if I'm wrong. And Dr. Thatch, that might be safer doing it that way. Welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
How's
you.
my volume?
Volume is good. At first it was a little low, but it's good now.
Okay, I turned it up a little bit.
Okay, and how do you pronounce your first name?
So my first name is Thela, Thela.
Oh, Thela. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's pronounced like relay.
Okay, I see the accent on it, but I wasn't sure where to go with it.
Okay, yeah, my background is giving me, I'm not really this pale, I promise you. I'm getting a ghostly look over here.
Yeah, sometimes with green screens and backdrops and all of that on Zoom, you might get all kinds of
Fix my
effects.
lighting. There you go.
So, okay, all right.
That's more of I look a little like that.
You're okay. All right.
Nice to meet you, Gwen Richardson.
You. And thank you for being a guest on the show. And congratulations on your book that came out in February.
Yes,
and
came out in February.
You said since it you told us since it came out, it's been in the top 100 category since it was released.
It has. I literally, to be totally transparent, I was down at 125 today. So
well, it's hour by hour, so
but I'm really pleased to be at 120 in the 100 anything on Amazon, because the competition is fierce on Amazon. And I'm just really grateful to be just counted in the number.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background in HR.
Sure. So I started my career in HR at a company on the East Coast called Cablevision. And I started, I can kind of go back a little further. So I started at Fox Television. I wanted to be a production assistant. And one of the things that I was doing when I was trying to be a production assistant, I consistently was asked to help the interns and people coming in to get them ready for onboarding. So back then I had no idea that I was doing onboarding, that I was doing shadowing. And so that kind of started my career. There was a woman at Fox Television. I've been looking for her. I hope she's still alive. Her name was Christine Tomlinson. And she was an HR person. And I just looked up to her. She was a woman of color. And I was like, I want to be an HR person. And I didn't know what that meant. I was literally, when I graduated from college, I was 18 years old. I had graduated at a really young age. And I just went into the career of television. But every time I worked in television, I ended up doing HR work. Okay. So even when I went and was working on the film set, I was working in production, I would end up being the production secretary. And a part of that work was hiring the staff, hiring vendors, making sure people were set up for payroll. And then I took that work Fast forward, I ended up moving here to Los Angeles to become the regional HR director for Live Nation Entertainment. And I was responsible for thousands of people, hiring and unfortunately firing. And then I became the chief diversity officer, and then so many other stories. But basically, that's my career in HR. I do everything from hire to retire. I've always wanted to be an HR generalist. And then I got tapped on the shoulder to lead diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that's my career. Yeah.
Okay. So your book is titled The Diversity Dilemma. So did you create that title? And if so, why did you settle on that as your title?
The title, The Diversity Dilemma, because at first I was going to call it The Diversity Debacle.
Okay.
Yeah, I just switched my microphone. Sorry. If you can hear me better now, probably.
Yeah, turn that volume up a little bit more if you're
Yep.
able to do that.
Okay. How about now?
Yeah, that's better.
I'm using a different mic.
Okay.
So I wanted, at first the book was called Inclusionomics. And Inclusionomics is a business that a partner and I own, Stacy Gordon. Stacy Gordon wrote a book called Unbiased. And so we were going to work together and write another book called Inclusionomics, which would be the study and the economics of inclusion and the impact that it has on Black people, people of color, and people, from diverse backgrounds. And that just seemed really intense. I was like, that sounds I'm a doctor, I've done methodology work and research and all that, but I'm like, I want something that's more from my heart, something that really captured my experience. And that was this whole dilemma / debacle around diversity. So what my experience has been is the more we talk about diversity, the more people have been polarized, the more people of color, especially Black women and Black men, have been hurt. And so think about, affirmative action, EEOC, and all of those different terminology. The more we benefit from those type of programs, the more we're also hurt and labeled that we're EEO hires, right? That we're only here because we're Black. And so I wanted to share my experience and the dilemma that comes from trying to make sure people have diversity. It's like a whole other side to it.
Okay. And so give us some insight into what some of that is. And I think what you're saying, which was the same with affirmative action, is and one of the things that I always felt about affirmative action, I'm backpedaling a little bit, but it's very political. It always becomes politicized.
Right.
That's one. And two, even though we tend to we're the face of it, so to speak.
Right.
We're not the beneficiaries of it.
So you just named a dilemma right there.
Yeah.
So that's an example of a dilemma, and it's in my book. I talk about the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is EEOC, and affirmative action. And again, we're the face of it. It was created for us, but often we don't benefit from it. And often we are suffering because people choose not to hire us because they're so upset that we somehow might get, a benefit, or we may get favoritism as Black people. So people will say, no, I don't want to hire this EEOC hire. So they'll see us as EEOC hires, even though they're not looking at it from the point of merit or meritocracy.
Right, the credentials.
No, they're not looking. They're like, oh, and I think a lot of us have experienced this, people of color, where when you do get an opportunity and you do get into a role, oftentimes they'll just assume that you were able to secure that position because you were an EEO hire. They're like, oh, you must just be an EEO hire. And so that's the dilemma. It's those type of catch-22s, and that causes trauma. That causes pain and suffering for people of color. And instead of a benefit, we're now labeled EEO hires, right? We're now labeled, oh, you're not as good as us. You're just here because of this new law or this new policy. And so that's something that we struggle with. And that's what my book is called The Diversity Dilemma, a survival guide
for diversity good doers, because when I started in this work with diversity, equity, and inclusion, I didn't have a survivals guide. And so there were certain terms that I didn't understand, like gaslighting, tokenism.
Switching,
Say that again.
code switching.
Code switching, right. So there are things, right. So now we have vocabulary around those words that help us manage in the workplace.
Yeah. It's several other ones too, but
yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
I have
So-
in my book, I have vocabulary.
Oh, you have like a glossary?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
got a whole glossary. I have a whole section just defining those.
All the terms.
Yes, I have a lot of terms defined in the book. Mhm.
Yeah, the irony is that many of us who are well educated are better educated and have better credentials than the people that are criticizing us.
Oh yeah, I talk about that in the book too. So there's a
We're
lot of
more qualified than the people who are critiquing us.
yes.
And
definitely.
the other irony or the truth is that white privilege is still the gate opener for the mediocre.
Well, I talk about that too. So I'm looking at actually in the book, and I just literally flipped it open as we were talking at chapter 6. And one of the topics I wanted to address was this myth around imposter syndrome. And so I start the chapter off with a quote from one of my favorite authors. Her name is Tricia Hersey. She wrote the book, Rest is Resistance. And I recommend that to anybody who ever listens to me, because she talks about how our greatest act of resistance and rebellion as Black women and as Black people is getting rest, because we come from a society that has taught us to work our bodies to death. We come from a plantation mentality where we're supposed to be working from sun up to sundown, just picking cotton and producing. And our biggest area of resistance and how we're going to save ourselves is by getting some rest, literally taking a nap. And so I start off chapter 6 with a quote from her that says, "Our labor historically has been used to make the lives of white women less hectic and more relaxed." And so I wanted, my book to be thought-provoking with the quotes that I use, but also, like I said, I talked about imposter syndrome. And for years, I thought I had imposter syndrome. And one thing I talk about in the book is that imposter syndrome is really a lie. It's just another way to control us and control us in the workplace. And so typically, it is the responsibility of our managers and direct reports to make sure that we're trained and feeling confident in the role that we're in, right? Would you say that?
Mhm.
And so often the imposter is typically the leaders in the organization, the CEOs and the owners of the organization. They are the true imposters, not the daily, workers and people who are showing up and doing their very best. And so this term imposter syndrome is really a lie that's similar to other terms like executive presence. So I struggled for years in corporate America thinking I did not have executive presence, because people would come up to me and say, "Oh, well, you really need to be more professional." That's another word. That's another word that's used when you're not fitting into the white supremacist culture. "Oh, well, she's just not professional looking. She doesn't have executive presence." So they're basically saying you don't look like the majority class. And so that's what I talk about in my book. And a lot of times as Black women, I always speak as a Black woman, because trust me, I'm a Black woman.
Yeah.
People think I'm like Ethiopian. My DNA is Senegalese, but I was raised in New Jersey. I'm
In
a Black
America.
in America. I'm a
Yeah.
Black woman. I would love to say I was an African woman, but I am an African American woman. But my point is, I struggled with imposter syndrome for a long time. and started to realize that it was just a lie and it was just a myth, and that I had everything I needed. I was more than enough. And going back to what you said, those people who were making me feel like like I was an imposter, they were mediocre.
Yeah. We really are threatened by us.
Yes. And I talk
And
about
that's the
it in
way
book
of,
too. It's called Pet to Threat. It's a pet.
okay.
Have you heard that before?
Yes, I have.
Threat.
I have.
As soon as you stop becoming the pet, like
Mm-hmm.
kind, sweet, submissive, subservient person, you become the threat. So that talk about the pet to threat syndrome. You're like, oh, why all of a sudden they start changing on me? Well, because you now have become a threat. So I didn't know any of these things that we're talking about right now. When I first started, I just thought I was literally mentally ill and losing my mind. I'm like, why? I must not be smart enough. I must not be read enough. I must not have the right degree from the right school. If I do this, then I could show up, and you know what I mean? I was always second guessing myself, always feeling like, because I typically was the only Black person in my role and at the company. And I just was constantly, I'm surprised I didn't just end up being committed into an insane.
It's very stressful. I opted out of that world early on. My experience as attending Georgetown University, it was everything you've described. And I said, okay, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but that experience made me do it quicker. So when I was 25, that was my last time working for somebody. But all of these experience, even my short time that I had working in corporate, and I worked for a small business, it was the same. It was the same as you've described. And it's been years ago. Now, working for myself, I have, and I've hired people, I've done all of that, had employees, and I don't, now I have a stress-free setup for myself. But
Yes.
all the things that you described, I experienced then. And, and I was, here was the thing. On the jobs I was on, I was smarter than all those people. I was smarter than the people who were ragging on me, but and that was the problem. See, so I now, since then, I don't have to deal with racism at work. I haven't had to deal with racism at work. I have to deal with other stuff.
Right.
When you're self-employed and you have to make payrolls, things like that, that's a whole nother thing. But I don't have to deal with racism at work. And if I hire somebody who's white, they do what I tell them to do because I'm paying. So, but I hear all these terms are new, but the experience is the same.
Exactly.
And I didn't even know about these terms. Really, I really didn't hear, when I first really started hearing about them is when we started this show 4 years ago. And people would come on the show and talk about these different terms. I didn't know about them because I haven't worked in corporate, So I didn't know about code switching and the things, but it's all the same. It hasn't changed. It really hasn't changed. And it's the same wherever you go in corporate. It's not company specific.
Yes. And that's also the diversity dilemma, is that we've been talking about this situation in our country around civil rights before the civil rights movement. I would say since 1865, right? Where since the turn of the beginning of the 19th century, we've been talking about civil rights, treating people as equal rights for women, right? We've been talking about this for a long time. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better. It seems to be getting worse. And that's the dilemma. Unfortunately, I mean, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just
no, I agree. The problem is that they expanded the definition and all these other people are benefiting. but we're still the face of the negativity. Like when it's talked about in a negative way, it's our face. And we're not the primary beneficiaries at all. And as time goes on, we are less and less and less of the primary beneficiaries as they keep adding on all these other groups of people.
Right. Well, this book is 200 and I think 50 pages.
Okay. And people need some help.
Yeah.
They need a guide. They need
Yeah.
that.
And my point is, there was so much I could have talked about. So
Mm-hmm.
my PhD is in public policy.
Okay.
And when I looked at my dissertation, it was in around recruiting, executive hiring, and it used critical race theory as a framework before critical race theory became a buzzword.
Okay.
Identity theory. And I'm just sharing that to say it's complicated. It's a lot to digest when you're talking about equity and inclusion. You got 50,000 people with 100 million opinions. And so I just tried to write a book that was from my point of view, so that someone who went through what I went through could say, oh, I'm not losing my mind. This is really happening. So now somebody is listening now and they're like, oh, Gwen went through this too. That's why she's an entrepreneur. Oh,
it's the truth.
there are people who they think that, and a lot of people of color, especially Black women, we think that we're going to change the whole game. Yeah, Martin Luther King tried to come and change it. And now I'm going to come behind Martin Luther King and I'm going to fix it. And I felt that way. I laughed because when I was tapped on the shoulder to lead diversity, I thought that I was going to do it so good and so incredible that I was going to show everybody how belonging and inclusion should be in the workplace. And all I helped a lot of people, don't get me wrong, but it was very stressful. And it affected my marriage, it affected my children, it affected my health. And there was a price to pay in the same way Martin Luther King had paid a price, right? All of our Malcolm X paid a price. Marcus Garvey paid a price. There's prices that we pay when we fight for equity. And I just want people to know that you're not alone in the fight. But I also want you to know, don't fight too hard, okay? Take care of yourself. take care of yourself because you're not going to
unless you want to be a martyr. Exactly. And we've had martyrs, and you can't really do anything if you're not here to do it.
Mike on that. That is what this book is about. It's about, I end the book talking about the 7 R's, which is around rest. I'm actually turning to the page where the 7 R's. And it talks about rest, restoration, rejuvenation, relationships, remembering our ancestors, recalibrating, and reinventing. And that, to me, is what the whole book is about. Like, how are you taking care of yourself? Don't just take on another job, because usually the DEI people in companies, this is their second job. So they're trying to do their job 110%. Then they get tapped on the shoulder and they're expected to lead diversity with no extra pay and take on
limited resources, or no extra resources, or no extra resources at all. It becomes so politicized.
Yeah.
And by politicized, I don't mean partisan politicized. I mean political in the corporate world. It's so political that it really becomes impossible to do very much. And normally, here's the other thing. It's always phased out. They'll do it for a limited amount of time, and then it'll be phased out, or it'll be merged with something else, because the long-term commitment is not there. A lot of times they're doing it for a CYA move. They got some bad PR, or they're trying to cover their rear flank if they're getting ready to do a bunch of layoffs. It's all kind of reasons why they do it. It's not altruism.
Yeah. Yes, no, it's not altruism. And
Mhm.
I just want to say that I always like to say to try to keep it balanced a little bit. There are some companies, and I've worked with a small few who are really trying to do it the right way. And they're trying, and they're usually smaller organizations, and they're working hard. I'll give a special shout out to Fuse Core. There's a company that I've worked with, and they're not perfect, but they are trying. They are correcting their behavior. They're going to courses, whatever. They're doing the best they can do. But then there's organizations, like you say, where it is clearly a checkbox. And that's the book. That's why I wrote the book. The book is about that. The book is about, don't be so anxious to take on these roles when the signs are there telling you that this is a checkbox and you're going to be a token. And I know that because I did that. I took on the role because I was, and another thing we do as Black people that is a lot of times detrimental to our own health is we want to be the first. We just love to be the first. I'm the first one at the post office. I'm the first president of the, Mason Society. I don't know, but you just, there's a pride in being the first, but there's also pain involved in being the first. And so ask yourself, in the book I talk about is it that important to be the first? There's a price to pay to be the first. And a lot of times it's not worth it.
Yeah. And normally the first gets a tremendous amount of resistance.
Exactly. You summed it up again. There you go. But people don't tell. I'll be honest. You think about
they
it.
don't know because you're the first. There's not to be anybody in there because they don't know.
Like, do you know you're getting ready to get a tremendous amount of resistance? Oh, no. Some people are built to be the first. They've been groomed all their lives to be the first, and they're prepared to be the first. But then there are some people who are not ready. And then, like you said, the initiative fails, and then they blame that person for the failure, which is traumatic to the person.
Right, which they were never really committed to it in the first place. When someone's and a company's committed to something, or it can be a company, or it can be the government. When they're committed to something, they write a big check.
Right. And they give you support
and they give you support and everything. That's when but the money is where it starts.
Oh yeah, that's
and
a
if
sign.
they don't do the money, then they're not committed. That's just true.
Yeah, I teach business courses, and business 101 to me is follow the money.
Yes.
Where company budget. Yes. And I'll be honest with you, all of my students, they never thought about that.
Oh, and that's always where the rubber meets the road everywhere, in every organization. That's
but Gwen, I'm telling you, especially as generation, it's not even a next generation. I talk to all generations, and especially our Black people, they don't think like that. A lot of times we're just so grateful someone
to be there,
and tap you on the shoulder, and you're not getting the right pay, you're not getting the right treatment. And so again, that's why I wrote the book.
Well, tell us the name again, and because we're at the very last 2 minutes of the show. The diversity
dilemma.
Okay, wonderful. You have a copy of the book. It sounds like an amazing read for anybody who's out there in the DEI space, or just being in a big organization and you're one of a few, that it will help you. I can tell it'll help you just live from day to day in there.
Yes. And
Gwen, a lot of times it's a day-to-day thing.
I'm going to get your address and send you an autographed copy this week. So I thank you so much for having me on. I hope that I have 2 other books, so maybe you'll have me on for those books too.
Okay. Well, you gave some really great information, and I know the people watching it's like, okay, it's not me after all. Yeah. I'm not by myself.
Exactly. That will make my heart happy to people know they're not alone and that they can get help.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. And we'll be in touch with you later on about your other titles.
Awesome. Talk to you soon. I'm so grateful.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Well, that's the end of our show. I was able to manage it, and I'll be happy for Rhonda to be back next week. And be sure to vote for Black Authors Matter TV Awards. The voting ends on Monday. That's the end of the show for this week. We'll be back next week with another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off. Have a great evening.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.